Good morning, guys. Welcome back to a homemade homestead. It is time to plant today. It is kind of in full swing. We're trying to get as much done as we possibly can. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to apologize. It's super windy today also. I'm going to be trying to shoot into the wind as much as possible. Hopefully you can hear me. Right now, we're going to be planting potatoes. Come see. I think that looks good enough to dig some furrows. Still pretty hard, isn't it? We'll try to make it work. Kiddos are bringing out the potato starts right now. Are you helping Dad?
Yeah.
Thank you. Are you a good helper?
Yeah.
There's the other one. There he is. How you doing? You ready to plant some potatoes? Oh, look at all those. That's a few. While we're up here, take a look at these chicks. These guys are somewhere between 6 to 10 weeks old, I think. They're old enough that they're good to be outside. I think last night was the first night we left them out here without their heat lamp on, and they did okay, fully feathered, and they're up here under the protection of the deck. But what I really was wanting to show you guys, this idea was not our original idea. I think we got this. Rach saw this from Art and Bree, their channel, I think. We really like this idea for a lid for these things. You just cut out the middle right here and zip tied some chicken wire over the top. They've got plenty of air to breathe, and for the nighttime we were just setting the heat lamp right on there. A lot less danger, a lot less worry about that thing possibly falling over in the middle of the night and starting a fire, you know, maybe melting the plastic a little bit. Worked out really well. They're not too happy right now because I'm filming them. No, don't eat them. You don't want to eat these. These are going to be our seed potatoes, and then when they grow under the ground, eventually we'll dig them up. Those will be the good ones to eat. These ones are yucky. You don't want to eat these.
But I want to eat my own potato.
Wouldn't you rather eat some new ones? Some nice ones? Yeah.
Yes.
That's what these ones are going to be for.
Yes.
Can you get this box? I think this is probably light enough for you. Did you wear your shoes down last time? You didn't, did you? Alright. Alright, that's alright. We can shed your socks when we get inside. Alright. Let's go. There you go. Nice. That'll do. Yep. Good job. Keep going.
Yeah, look.
Good job, bud. Thank you.
There's cow poop. That's okay.
Next step, I think, right quick, I'm going to rake this out to try to get rid of those peaks that I created with the tiller. And also rake out some of this crabgrass. All of this stuff that we see in here, all these white roots, you see all these? These things are nasty. I don't know if it's technically crabgrass is the name for it. But these roots just run all along underground, and they'll send out these little things. The ends of them will actually be quite pointy, and they stab through just about everything. I think that's all flat enough to where I like it. We got a lot of those grass roots out of there, so hopefully that'll do. They'll probably come back, but this will be good enough for now. On to furrows. Had to bring out the big guns and get my pickaxe here. I underestimated how hard this ground was going to be. It sat here uncovered for a good part of the winter time, and it was a little bit harder than I was anticipating. But I think what we're going to do is just continue to work with that because we don't have a better tool just yet. This will work fine. Once we get all these furrows dug, and I may decide to start planting sooner, but gonna get a few of these dug and then hopefully get my boys' help to start planting, actually dropping in these potatoes. was talking about it with Rachel earlier. We were wondering about the possibility of just getting the shovel out and starting to dig holes and drop the potatoes in. Well, that works. That works great for the seed potatoes that we just barely bought. They're just the potato itself. There's some of our own potatoes that have just sat over the winter in our basement, and they've gotten these eyes, these long shoots, whatever. If you happen to have potatoes like that, don't throw them away. They're still good to grow. The only problem is we can't really make full use of those if we're digging holes. So that's why I was digging the furrows. If you get these potatoes, these things will still work great. It would be necessary to have that potato still attached to them, but if you lay this root down along a trench that you dig or along a furrow, and you make sure to cover that, each one of these little shoots right here, you see these little green starts that are coming out the sides, and they'll just continue to grow potatoes. They're still very good for seed potatoes, and make sure you get them covered in dirt, and they should continue to grow just great. Anyway, all that to say that while we were originally planning on digging holes to plant those potatoes, those work great for fresh bought seed potatoes. But for a lot of what we've got with those shoots coming out of them, we decided the trench would be the kind of the necessary way to go, and then we'll just try to make sure we run those shoots along the trench to utilize as much of those shoots as we possibly can. This little guy is our helper here.
Look, there's no any rock.
You're our helper, aren't you, bud? He really enjoys helping. Can't do a whole lot just yet because he's still pretty small, but we love that hard-working attitude, huh, bud?
Yeah.
Thank you. Are you finding those rocks?
Yes.
Awesome, bud. Thank you so much. So, finally got those furrows dug for this section. Hooray! You can see them all in there. It's nice to have that part done. Now the fun part is just going to be laying the potatoes and the shoots down in the trench and then covering them over with dirt. Real quick though, before we get started on that, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story. If any of you have been here with us for a little bit over a year or so now, it's been, last year was our experimenting year. We tried planting in the wood chips over in this section of the garden with the wood chips, planting over here in just bare dirt, nothing on it. We tried a couple different methods. One of them was a potato tower, which be sure to go check that video out. We just tried all these different things to experiment, to see what would give us the highest yield of potatoes for the amount of input. And honestly, with all of the extra work we did experimenting with the tower and such, this regular old method, planting them in the plain dirt, gave us back the most potatoes. So that's what we've decided to do this year. Those other methods didn't really pan out all that great, but you know, I was just watching a video by Roots and Refuge, and she's just so encouraging, Jess. What she always likes to say is to look at the garden as your classroom. You can look at your gardening experience as a learning experience. It's not a total success of a garden or a total fail of a garden any given year. It's learning. It's always a learning experience. If something doesn't do all that great, you didn't fail. You found a different way that does not work for planting a certain crop. I think Edison said something to that effect, right? When asked about his different failures, which he had thousands of failures apparently on working with trying to produce that electric light bulb. And when asked about each one of his failures, he just simply said, I didn't fail. I figured out all these thousands of ways how not to make a light bulb. And that's kind of what we did here. We didn't fail. We found out that these different methods didn't work for us. Now, this year, we're going to try a different learning experience. What we're going to do is after we get these planted, we're going to cover them in dirt. Then what we're going to try to do is cover them with straw. We're not going to plant them super deep, just make sure that they're covered with dirt and then put straw over the top of them. As those shoots come up out of the ground, we're going to continue to cover them and make sure they're buried in straw. My brother actually tried that last year and he said he had a phenomenal potato yield. So that's going to be the new experiment this year. But enough talking. I see my two boys over there playing. I'm going to try to enlist their help planting these potatoes. Some of them have shoots. Put the face down. The white part that you see, that needs to be down on the ground. So we got all those potatoes planted in the furrows. We haven't covered them over just yet. I think we need to mark the rows, correct? So we know where they are. But Rachel has been awesome and doing stuff in the house, and she just informed me that lunch is ready. So thank you, boys. It's time to knock off for lunch break. Well, we're done with lunch. As tempting as it is to go take a nap in the heat of the day, I still want to take a nap. But we figured that it was going to be a little bit more beneficial to hurry and go try to get the rest of this knocked out while the kiddos are asleep. Rachel wanted to be a help out in the garden, so she's going to help do what she can. We're going to try to get this thing busted out. I don't know. She's already walking where she's not supposed to be walking. Where are you walking?
Hey, you're standing on it too. I'm walking where you planted grass.
We planted all of this in grass. Rachel was really good to help, and our oldest was good too. You see we've got a cannon running over there to water it on our days that we can water. And we decided that the best way to do it, try to get the most area covered as we could. We went over this whole back lawn area, planted it with seed, covered it with manure to try to keep the moisture on it as best we could. And then we just made this short walk path of 2 pieces of fence and T-posts. We told the kids this is where they can walk. If they want to go from the steps to the back lawn, they can play on the grass. And all that other stuff out there, they can use this pathway. And they've done pretty good so far. Okay, well, I think all the work with the tiller is done. That's the hard part. Did I say furrowing was the hard part? I meant tilling was the hardest part. Now I gotta dig some furrows. I'm gonna level those, level out that tilled area just a little bit first. As you see behind me, Rachel was sweet and she came along. She covered all those potatoes that the boys and I planted, and she put stakes on both sides so that we know where the rows are until they come up. And now she's so hardworking. She's already on a different project. Look at this. What you doing?
We have manure to make a walk path so that we can walk in between the potatoes and the onions. Because what we've learned from onions is you have to be able to get to them to weed them and to bear the bulb.
Right, to bear the bulb.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, because we made that mistake where we just do a whole patch and then we can't get to the middle ones. So we've learned that trick. I felt the baby move just a minute ago.
She was talking about making some of that nice mulch area sort of a walk path. And then, even though we don't want to plant potatoes right close next to this ditch, we could still plant a couple rows of onions right here. Why not utilize the space we've got, right? It's better than just dirt sitting here and waiting to collect weeds that will volunteer to grow. It's coming along in the heat of the day. Now we've got this area that's going to be right next to the chicken coop, and over there on the other side of the trench. I was feeling like it kind of seemed disjointed a little bit, which is fine, but looking at it from Rachel's perspective, she was, no, all the potatoes are sort of in the same area, at least, which she's right. They'll taste the same either way. Ew.
Is that a cutworm before it gets all big and fat?
I don't know.
Either way.
I thought they were shorter and fatter.
I don't know. It's going to the chickens no matter what it is.
Oh, that'll be fun. Well, they'll love it.
I hope so. Okay, guys, go. Chicken chickies. Hey, chicken chickies.
Which one of y'all got it?
I don't know. It was so fast.
Looks like we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows there. Another 3 rows there. I sure hope that's going to be enough for all these potatoes. Because I'm kind of done digging furrows. So we finished up planting the seed potatoes. And now we're on to the potatoes with the runners. I'm just kind of going along planting. As I remember, we used to do it when I was a kid. This is sort of how we would do it. We'd plant the potato in, lay the tubers along the trench. These ones, for some reason, I feel like I'm a little bit more excited to plant. I have a little bit more hope for. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because they sent out tubers. I already know that these things want to grow. And they're not just going to immediately die on me. Maybe that's what it is. And I think that about does it for this video. We got 20 pounds of the seed potatoes that we bought, and I wish we had weighed all of the different potatoes that we had of our own that had sprouted eyes, as well as the ones that were given to us from someone else that they didn't use. Wish we had weighed those as well, but all in all, we figure if we get about 65 pounds worth, I think, of yield out of these potatoes, then they will have easily paid for themselves just with the price of potatoes, what we can get them for out of the market. If we can get at least 65 pounds, it would have been worth our money, and we'd be gaining at that point. I guess time will tell how the harvest goes, but it's all in the hands of the Creator at this point. Had to get some water on them, but not right now. Right now, we're gonna go inside, get cleaned up, and get ready for dinner. But thanks for joining us for this video, and we'll be sure to bring you along as we did last year to show you the harvest of these things. I'm really super excited about them this year. Before you leave, you know all the things to do, and especially comment. We sure love interacting with you guys and talking to you. But we'll see you again in the next video real soon, hopefully. Take it easy. Looks like the chickens have been doing some good work of their own in here. Except for this one, she's broody. Got nothing to brood on. But looks like there's quite a few eggs. 9 eggs, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.